What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today's video is all about flipping cars. Now, last week we did a video talking about how we're gonna do stuff, and we did it here in the studio. Today, we're actually gonna get out of the studio. We're gonna go to the shop. We're gonna show you the cars that we bought, how much we paid for them, how we're gonna diagnose them. We're gonna kind of walk through them and stuff like that, because I get a lot of people asking me questions like, well, you know, what's your steps of flipping cars? How do you do it? I don't see how people make money. So I wanted to give you guys more of a, behind the scenes type of look when it's to flipping cars. Now, before I do, if you can do me a huge favor and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, it helps me find more amazing people like yourselves that enjoy automotive content. Also, if you consider subscribing, I post great stuff like this all the time. Definitely do that. Click the notification bell. Only, I think, 5 or 10% of you guys are actually on the notification squad, so please do that. I truly appreciate it because we are posting 3 times a week. Also follow us on Instagram, automotive.life, and let's get into the video. Okay guys, we just got to the store. I'm just gonna walk around and kind of show you a little bit. So today we're gonna focus mostly on cheap cash cars, because we'll go to the auction, we'll buy stuff like this, but you know, not a lot of people can afford like a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 cars. Now, once you guys start flipping cars and you get better at some of the cheaper cars, you can work yourselves up to doing more of expensive cars. So the cars that we're gonna be talking about today are all the buckets that you see here, because everybody thinks that, oh, well, you just sell high-end cars and you know, it's easy to make money because you're not fixing them or anything else. I'll tell you what, we buy buckets. And when I mean buckets, we're talking like $500, $600, $700 cars. Nothing extravagant, nothing fancy. We're gonna kind of walk you through and show you a few cars. So one of the first ones we're gonna talk about are the 2 wagons that I got yesterday. So they're pretty rare. Let me flip around here. We have this one right here, which is an Audi A4 Turbo Quattro 6-speed manual wagon. Thing is really freaking cool. 600 bucks is what we bought it for. This other wagon, Mercedes wagon, we bought it for about $1,000. Runs and drives. It does have some issues, so we're gonna have to go through it, but very cool looking car. I'm gonna give you guys a little more in-depth knowledge and talk about some of the ways we diag stuff. But you know, everybody thinks that you need a lot of money to start flipping cars, and it's not true, because like a lot of these cars that we have here, you know, like this one we paid like maybe $500, $600 bucks for it. Truck we paid like $1,500 for it. So you know, you can buy a lot of this stuff for fairly inexpensive. You know, and yes, we do buy some of these expensive Jeeps, and then like this Mercedes we bought with no key. It's a crapshoot. I'll go into that one. And then also, like I said, this limo, you know, it sucks. You know, like I said, we bought it for like $600 and something dollars. I just put $800 in a computer and a wiring harness, and it still doesn't run. So this shows you that sometimes, not all the time, it works out perfectly. So that was just a subscriber. You know, if you guys see me out in public, that's fine. You can say hi, whatever else. If you see me working, you know, I tell people, please don't stop by, because, you know, we're in the middle of doing stuff. I'm going back and forth. And, you know, sometimes I don't like to be short, but I got other things I got to do. So anyway, shout out to Patrick. Thank you for stopping by. So back to the limo. Like I said, I bought it for cheap. I spent $800, $900 getting a second key made, new computer and throttle body, and the thing still doesn't run correctly. So not every single one is a winner. If anybody tells you on this platform that they're making millions of dollars and every car is a winner and they never lose money, they're full of shit. This one right here, I'm gonna fix it. I'll probably put another couple $100 into it and it'll be ready, but I just wanted to give you an update on that one. So we're gonna walk over and we're gonna start with the one that I had a lot of messages on, my $600 Porsche Cayenne. So you can see it right here in all of its glory. Looks okay. So I got the key in my pocket. We're gonna go ahead and open it up and take a look and see what we're working with. Okay, here's the Porsche. It's got about 150,000 miles. You kind of see the interior there. It looks in pretty good shape. First thing I saw was this poking out right here. That lets me know that somebody was poking around the fuse panel. This car is a this is a 06 Porsche Cayenne. Okay, now on the back, if you look at the back, it says Porsche Turbo. This is definitely not a turbo. You can see the air intake is sitting right here. If you look, we got tons of leaf built up, everything else. They said it's been sitting for about 2 years. Now we're looking at this paperwork. This says 2020, so they lied to us. So this thing's probably only been sitting around for about a year. So never believe what the customers tell you. Now we're gonna go through this and we're gonna start and we're gonna check everything. But first, before you start any of your cars, you check all the fluids, you add 2-3 gallons of new gas, and you also add maybe 1 or 2 quarts of new oil if it's not full. If it's old, drain about 1 quart or 2, at least put something new in there so there's some sort of viscosity, and also you're not sucking up old fuel. And what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna show you what we do when we buy cars. Now, I recommend you do this on every single car. So what I'm gonna do right here at the bottom is I'm gonna write that we bought the car for $600, okay? So we bought the car for 600 bucks. Next thing, I'm gonna put down what these sell for. So I looked online and they're between $5,000 and $6,500 bucks. So I'm just gonna put 5 to 6K because I want it to go quickly. I don't wanna sit on my lot too much. So we're gonna put $5,000 to $6,000. Okay, so after I put the 650, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put what I think we're gonna need to put into it. So I'm gonna give us about a $1,200 budget. Okay, now that we have a $1,200 budget, with all this together, we should be into it around $1,900, and then we take that away from the $5,000 to $6,000, and that leaves us with our profit. Now this is just a guess. There could be more, there could be less, but it's to give you a cushion. Basically, let me put this here, from this number to this number is our actual profit. So let me go ahead and put this here, profit. I recommend doing this on every single car, and you do it visually. So as you're sitting here and you're looking at the car, you know exactly where your money's at, how much money you spent, and everything else. Let's go to the next car. Next car we're gonna start with is the Audi station wagon. Like I said, this is a 04 Quattro turbo 6-speed manual. The inside is actually really clean. We put the jumper box onto it, and it does only have 80,000 miles. So very cool looking car. We're gonna go ahead and pop the hood, and I'm gonna show you the reason why I got it for so cheap. Okay, we popped the hood. We're gonna show you why we got this car so cheap. So if you look right here, you could see that literally the timing belt is completely popped off. You can see it frayed down there, stripped some of the gears. So usually what happens on these is they kind of strip, fall off, and then they wind up bending the valves in the head. This is what's called an interference motor. What that means is, as the valves go down, it barely misses the piston coming up. So when the timing belt breaks, it bends all the valves usually. So we're praying that it did not happen. Now, we checked this earlier, and unfortunately, this car had no oil in it. So I'm hoping that it has a leak or something else. If not, that means that they locked up the motor, which caused the timing belt to spin, which pretty much means the motor's complete trash. But we don't know just yet. So before we do, let's go ahead and write the numbers on the windshield, see what we're working with. All right, once again, we are into this car a whopping $650 with towing. So we put $650. Remember, at the bottom, we're gonna put what we actually have, what's gonna sell for. Now, I looked online. There are no Quattro all-wheel drive turbo 6-speed manual wagons for sale. So I'm gonna put a wild guess and put $6,000. It could be less, it could be more. I have no idea. I'm just gonna look it up and see what I'm working with. Now, to do the head, the timing belt, water pump, head gasket, machining the valves and everything else, we're probably looking at about $1,200, okay? To bring it back up to snuff. So I'm gonna put 1,200 bucks there. Now, if the motor is bad, which we're gonna find out during the process, I'm gonna mark a secondary line, and we're gonna put 1950. So for 1950, I can go ahead and get a new motor put into the vehicle. So this includes my parts, labor, everything else. This includes everything. This is my budget for the repairs. Because I know another video I put out, people were like, well, what do you do for labor? What do you do for labor? This does include labor. So these are just guesstimates. So if we take the $2,000 from the $650, so let's say 2,600 bucks. So everything after $2,600 is gonna be our profit. And that's gonna be our gap right here, is we're gonna see what our profit is. So, you know, I recommend, like I said, do this on every car, get a good visual sense, because this will save you a lot of headache. If you reverse work it down, you know what you're working with. Because if I get into this car and let's say the transmission's bad and the motor's bad and this is bad, I'll look at what I had budgeted, and if it goes over this number, I literally will clean it up and I'll turn around and I'll sell it for like $1,000. So I'll make $300-400, but I won't lose anything. That's the biggest thing. You don't want to chase good money with bad money. So if it's, like I said, reaches a certain threshold, you need to learn how to walk away. This is the hardest thing to teach dealers, car flippers, everybody. Let's get on the next car. Okay, here is a 2005 Mercedes C230 Wagon. Now these things are pretty rare. There's not too many of them. So I'm hoping that, you know, we can get some good money for this one, because I looked online and once again, or 320, so it's the V6, excuse me. I'll go ahead and show you. This is the window sticker. So somebody bought this thing brand new for $42,000. Pretty cool. So like I said, I was looking online, I couldn't see anything, couldn't find anything. And I think that, you know, there are definitely buyers for stuff like this. They're just more rare, unique. These two I might put up on what's called Bring a Trailer. It's an online application or auction that allows regular people to sell cars. I think it'll reach more people that are specializing in this. But if you could see, the inside's actually really clean. It's just dusty. It's been sitting for a few months. Both of these were left at a automotive repair shop, and the person never came and picked them up, both of these. So that's where I got these from. So if you watch my videos, I always talk about you never know where your next deal is going to come from. Both of these came from a tow yard because, like I said, they left them at the repair shop. The repair shop didn't want to lean them, so they ended up having the tow guy impound them, and that's where I got them from. So there's definitely good deals. So now that we know kind of what's wrong with these cars, we're going to bring them into the shop. We're going to do just a quick inspection on every single vehicle. And while they're doing that, I'm actually going to be calling and getting parts pricing on everything from the timing belt to the tune-up to everything else. So this way I kind of know if my numbers are correct. Now, once you get better at this, your numbers are going to be really close. You're going to see after the end of this, the next video, those numbers are going to be pretty much spot on, very, very close. And if we do go over our budget, you'll see I'll actually just clean up the car and get rid of it. But I do that on purpose, so this way, like I said, we maintain our profit margin. So once we get our list, the inspection is done, I'm going to take all that, put the price into consideration, and if everything works out good, next we're going to go pick up the parts. Now that we got our list, next thing to do is we're going to go pick up some parts. So if you're flipping cars and you're getting serious about this, if you don't have a shop, go get a mobile mechanics repair license. The reason is if you get that with your resale ID, you can get discount account parts here, like at O'Reilly's, AutoZone, Checkers, Napa, everybody else, and so it helps you save money. So if you plan on flipping cars seriously, you definitely want to do this. So like I said, just go to your local city, tell them you're a mobile mechanic, you want to get your mobile mechanics license, get your what's called your tax resale number, come over to AutoZone, O'Reilly's, Napa, wherever else, and start setting up accounts. And then as you start flipping your cars, let's say you're doing really good and you want to open up a repair shop, or you want to open up a dealership or a rental car company, your business credit is already established with vendors like these, and it'll definitely pay dividends. Once you start getting busier, you get, you know, a couple hundred, couple $1,000 every single day in parts. It's nice not to having to come back and forth, swipe your card, or write a bunch of checks. They just run up your account per day, per week, per month. So we're gonna go ahead, get inside there, get some parts, and we'll see you back at the shop. Okay guys, we're back in the studio. One of the main reasons why it actually has AC. I was sweating through my shirt. If you look at the other part of the video, I was literally dying out there. So if you're wondering why I keep losing weight, it's because of that right there. Vegas is too damn hot. But anyways, now that we're here, I want to go over a little bit more in detail about some of the things that we do when we're flipping cars. So as you saw, you know, we start off with writing on the windshields what we bought the car for, profit, you know, what we think we're going to sell it for, and then what we think that the repairs are going to cost, you know. And then we also talked about how you could save money with a mobile mechanics license and actually starting up your accounts at some of your local auto part stores. Even if you don't do mechanical work yourself, this is going to definitely benefit you, because if you do hire a mobile mechanic and he says, oh, I need to get an alternator, you go buy the alternator yourself. You control what's called the cores, because you want to make sure you get all your money back. And then every time you buy something, the more you spend, you actually build credit with these vendors. So every few weeks or every few months, you can go back and say, hey, look, I'm spending $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $30,000 a month. You know, I want a discount in pricing. And you can keep going back and forth, and that's some of the things we do to save the money. Now, I'm going to do an update after we go through all these cars. So as of today, when I leave this video, I'm going to go ahead and go back out there, and all through the weekend we're going to go through these cars, and sometime next week I'm going to give you an update of what I found on these vehicles, if I was right in my preliminary judgments. Because like I said, the Mercedes, I think it's probably secondary air pump. The Audi, it's going to be either the head or the timing belt. I have to check because there was no oil in the motor. So if the bottom actually locked up, which caused the belt to spin up top, then pretty much the motor's shot and we're just going to get a new motor. But also, like I said, we're still working on the limo. It's a pain in the butt. When it comes to the actual Porsche Cayenne, it's anybody's guess right now. I turned on the key, turned the power on. There was no power. I checked all the fluids, everything looked good. So we're gonna go ahead and roll that into the shop and see if it's a starter issue or if it's an ignition issue, and then work our way forward towards that. I'm guessing it's probably gonna be something with the motor, because usually people park these because they have problems. So, you know, one of the things that we talk about is when we buy from people, individuals, they're always gonna tell you some funny story. Oh, all it needs is this, all it needs is this. If all it needed was that, why don't you fix it yourself? And you know, some people run out of money, or maybe they're not mechanically inclined, and a lot of times you get good deals. But a lot of the times my friends tell me this crap because I know they're just trying to offload cars that need too many problems or too many headaches, and they know I have a shop and I can figure it out. So I tell most of my friends, just be honest, I'm gonna find out real quickly, you know. And I've never made any of my friends buy back cars yet. I may start doing that here in the future. So like if I build a good relationship and I usually ask the guys, hey, what's wrong with the car? And they're like, oh, it just needs 2 small things. I'll just take them at their word and I'll buy it. But in the beginning, never do this. You check every car, like your life and your life and all your money depended on it, because I see a lot of people, especially some of the guys I go against, and when I go out and buy like these bulk cars from some of these used car dealers and rental car companies and stuff like that, they go there and they're just like, oh, 20,000, I'll take all these cars, or 50,000, I'll take all these cars. And they don't check the books, they don't start them, they don't look at them, and the people like that. So now all these dealers, these bankers, and these rental car companies are getting used to these idiots showing up, buying everything and overpaying it. So now it's like raising the prices for all of us. So when you start car flipping, really take your time and learn as much as you can on each vehicle that you're going to be doing. Like I said, learn about auto repair. That's probably going to save you the most amount of headache. A lot of flippers, you know, that I deal with don't know shit about cars. They just know they want to flip cars and make money. Take the time to learn your craft. If you're going to be the plumber, you need to learn how to do be the best plumber you can. Learn all the techniques from the old guys, you know, be hands-on with it. Doesn't mean you don't have to keep, you know, being a plumber full time, but you can be a manager, but you know how the steps are. Same thing with car flipping. If you want to start car flipping, that's great. I highly encourage you to try it. This way, basically your baby steps before your dealership. But learn about the industry. Get your hands dirty. There's way too many people overpaying for cars because they don't know how to actually look at cars correctly. And then they get in there and they let mechanics rip them off. You know, so whatever profit you made by really negotiating a good deal on that car, but you don't know how cars work, and you give it to a mechanic and he says, oh, it needs $500 worth of work, and you're thinking in your head, well, I made $2 grand really quick and it's a great sale, so go ahead and do the $500 worth of work. But in all reality, maybe that car only needed was $100 worth of work. So, you know, those dollars are going to matter when you start losing money, because the cars you see, we're going to make money on most of them, but it's the losses. Every place, everywhere you do, you're going to have losses. We just need to mitigate them and then, you know, capitalize as much money as we can on the ones that we're profiting on to compensate for those losses. Because I've actually sold cars where I'm like, oh shit, it's a bad car, $500–600 loss right from the get-go. And people ask me, why don't you just try to fix it? Why don't you just try to do this? Time and money, you know, you can get money back. You can't get time back. And I tell a lot of people it's better just to get rid of it, move on, use that money to buy something else that you could flip maybe 2–3 times by the time you fix that one car that's problematic. So when I was walking around the parking lot, I talked a lot about, you know, how people chase good money, or new money with old money, or good money with bad money. What that means is, you know, once you get a car and you start having problems, you start having multiple issues, you need to have a certain point where you cut bait. Like you're like, hey, look, you know what? I know I could sell the car for X amount of dollars if I put this much into it. And you need to learn that point and you need to stick to it, because all the flippers that are watching this video, and then you'll meet some in person, I'll tell you the same thing. They'll like, oh, well, I got a few bucks extra. I'll just put another $100 in. I'll put another $100 in. Eventually you need to draw a line in the sand, stop. Sell the car, you either take a loss, you recoup most of your money, and you move on. Everybody keeps, oh, it just needs this, I just need this, and you keep putting more and more money into it and you lose everything. So you don't ever want to get into that cycle, you know. Like just what I did with the cars over there, I write it on the windshield. Hey, if I get to this point, like most of my numbers you saw, my guesstimates, if I can get 50% towards that, or if I basically spend all that money and I don't get exactly what I need, I will stop. Whatever parts that I can take back, I'm going to take it back. I'm going to clean up the car, make it look pretty, and I'm just going to dump it, because it's not worth the headache, not worth the time. So, you know, I'm going to do more detailed stuff next week. Hopefully we're going to do it at nighttime when it's not so hot, so this way I don't wind up sweating my brains out. But if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section below. I answer every single one, if you can't tell already. It's actually me, none of my staff. You know, if you have any questions as far as dealership, flipping cars, you know, everything else, you know, we try to give as much information as we possibly can. If you are a dealership and you want a little more information and you want to set up a call, we can do that as well. We try to give you guys as much information on this channel as possible. So I did a video last week, or not last week, but Wednesday, about a vlog style, which is kind of just showing me running around Vegas doing stuff with my buddy. Unfortunately, you guys, I don't think you guys liked it too much because it only got, I think, 1,000 views right now, which I was shocked at. Usually my stuff gets about 2,000-3,000 views in the first few days. So, but I do want to sprinkle that stuff in because, you know, I do a lot of business, but I also, you know, want to show some of the other stuff we do on the outside that we do for fun. Plus, like I said, I do cars, but I also do a lot of other stuff too. So I think that, you know, you need to have multiple streams of revenue. The automotive industry can bring you that, but there's always more you can add on to it. So I'll sprinkle in a vlog style video every probably month or so. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. If you feel like you learned anything, smash the like button. Also, if you consider subscribing to us, we're posting great stuff like this all the time. Click the notification bell because we are posting 3 times a week now. Also, if you can follow us on Instagram at automotive.life. I am way more popular on there. We post every day. I do videos, behind the scenes stuff. It's a lot easier to ask me questions on there. So you can either hit me up on there or you can email me at lucky@automotive.life, and we'll see you in the next video.